Is the DC Black community celebrating Donald Trump's federal takeover of the city? Well, if you listen to Megyn Kelly recently, you might think that they are.
Mayor been in power so long, I think she's kind of used to how things are going, and I think Donald Trump really wants to clean it up, and I'm all for it.
The crime is outrageous, and you do feel unsafe. I don't know, what's going to occur, whether it's going to be really beneficial for us or not, but something needs to happen.
Every single one of those were Black people, for the listening audience, saying they welcome the Trump intervention there. And honestly, I have been on the south side of Chicago. I have met the mothers whose sons are getting killed in the streets every day. I will bet you, Emily, they would be thrilled to see more law enforcement there and something resembling a safe neighborhood for their children.
I think we need to impact this, okay? Are Black and brown people happy about the police presence? Well, first of all, that is a loaded question, as it is, because as we heard all during the last election cycle, Black people are not a monolith. You don't have a single Black beehive mindset. So what the entire Black community in DC at large thinks about the federal takeover cannot be concluded because we all have different viewpoints. We also live in different parts of the city. While Anacostia, right over the Anacostia River, does have a very high population of Black and brown individuals, DC in and of itself has a high population of Black and brown individuals. We don't all live in low-income areas. We're everywhere, right? We are a major part of this city. And so how we view this law enforcement surge is probably more related to our socioeconomic status than it is our skin color. Now, I can't speak for all Black people. I can speak for myself. And I can say that I actually think DC needed a law enforcement surge. We do not need a federal law enforcement surge. I am highly opposed to sending in the National Guard. We do not need this. I think it also sets a very dangerous precedent. But I do think that DC ignored a crime problem for a long time. I was also very much opposed to the entire defund the police movement in 2020. I was still a prosecutor at that time. I think that there is a place for police in our society. Now we need to use a data-driven approach. We need intelligent policing. We need implicit bias training. But you know what? That doesn't mean that you don't need the police. And in my opinion, from what I saw as a prosecutor, we needed more of them. We need community policing. We need a police presence. We need a deterrent effect. And that's what we're seeing with this federal law enforcement surge. Obviously, the Black community has a very complicated relationship with the police. And I'm not sitting up here saying that it is a perfect relationship at all, right? Obviously, we can just see from a lot of innocent Black men who have died at the hands of police that there needs to be reform. But that being said, I can also tell you from having worked closely with MPD, most of the officers are good. And Chris Rock made a joke that just like airline pilots, officers, it can't be some officers are good. Every single officer needs to be good. And that needs to be the goal. There needs to be more training. But as I've also said, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We need to be supporting our police force and we need to be supporting our communities. And so I think if Megyn Kelly had taken the time to go and solicit Black voices to talk about this, it would have made her point stronger. Because let me tell you one thing that insults me. It's when we take up the cause of a marginalized group and make a valid point, but do it in service to your own narrative, your own message, and not really care about what that group is going through. Because that's how I took that segment, which is, let me just cherry pick. Let me just take a few sound bites from other media outlets to prove my point without bothering to talk to a Black person who's actually adversely affected by crime and who might be welcoming the police surge, right? Like, if you really care, show us you care. Show us this is what this is about. Because we hear a lot about this entire federal takeover being pretextual. That means they're doing it in pretext. They're doing it because Trump wants something else. President Trump wants something else. He wants to federalize cities. He wants to take over. He wants more control. That's what we hear. So when you are supporting what he is doing by using practical examples, using the talking points that this was actually necessary, you should be doing it in a genuine way. Because again, while there are plenty of Black people who reject all of this, reject extra police on the street, there are also Black people who champion it. Because why? Black people are not a monolith. We are all the product of our environment, of our experience, and of our own thoughts, right? We get to make our own decisions on what we agree with. So Megyn Kelly and anybody out there who is using these talking points, I really encourage you to actually talk to a Black person. Go ahead and talk to somebody who's living in those communities and see what they think. And like I said, I think you'll be surprised. I think you will find people who are happy that MPD is getting additional resources. Again, my opinion, we don't need federalization at all. After this 30 days, I think that we can police ourselves, but that means making real changes in DC, being honest about where we are with our crime statistics, and giving MPD more officers.